I'd like to next welcome to the stage Dr. Michael Platter, Senior Director of Business Development and Licensing of CSL, to the stage. CSL is a global biotech company with dynamic portfolio of life-saving medicines, including those that treat hemophilia and immune deficiencies, vaccines and prevent influenza, and therapies in iron deficiency and nephrology. Dr. Michael Platter.
So, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time to come to Philadelphia and listen to the CSL presentation. Let me just advance my slides. This is the customary legal disclosure that we have, so I won't bore you with that. And let's sort of jump straight into the introduction of CSL. So CSL has 40 plus countries in operation where we have sites. We make $30.3 billion in annual revenue, and we have $5.1 billion in R&D spend over the last 5 years, so quite substantial. We have 32,000 employees around the world. 2,000 of those are within R&D, and we have 340 plus plasma collection centers distributed throughout the globe. We have a significant global footprint. We are an Australian headquartered company in Melbourne, and where we have a state-of-the-art facility newly constructed. We also have a strong European R&D presence with a center in Marburg and a newly recently constructed and opened R&D center within Waltham, just outside Boston. We also have other facilities distributed throughout the globe, varying from development to manufacturing to operational and corporate offices, which you see on this slide here. Again, we have 2,000 employees associated with the R&D function throughout the world. We are the 7th largest biotech company. We listed on the NASDAQ in 1984, but we have deep-seated heritage going back to 1916 when we were founded from the Common Serum Laboratories in Australia, where actually our portfolio started with manufacturing of snake venoms, believe it or not. Looking at our corporate structure, we are comprised of 4 business units. We have the CSL Behring, which is focused on biologics, CSL Plasma, plasma collections, where we source some of our biologics from, including immunoglobulins. We have our Seqirus business, which is focused on vaccines, and Vifor, which is nephrology and iron deficiency. We have 6 therapeutic areas, ranging from immunology, hematology, respiratory, cardiovascular and renal, nephrology and transplant, and vaccines. And then underlying that and supporting all of those TAs, we have a series of platforms, including plasma, recombinant technology, cell and gene therapy, and vaccines, which includes both cell-based adjuvants and also self-amplifying messenger RNA. So a very broad TA focus. Looking now at each of the therapeutic areas, let's look at immunology. Our core areas of interest of which we're looking for partnerships on in immunology are B cell and plasma depletion or inhibition, T cell modulation, including Tregs, modulation of cytokines and chemokines, and depletion and modulation of the innate immune effector cells. And this is focusing on primarily the autoimmune diseases of inflammatory idiopathic myopathies, including dermatomytosis, Sjogren's syndrome, and systemic sclerosis. We do have areas of adjacent indications which we are also interested in immunology, and we have mechanisms of which we can finance those, which we will also describe later on in this presentation. Looking at hematology, our principal areas of focus are on thrombotic conditions, both macro and micro. We're looking for targets and therapies that focus on fibrinolysis, thrombolysis, and this is all in acute thrombotics, including ischemia and stroke and pulmonary embolism. And we are also looking at microvascular thrombosis treatments in endothelopathies. We do have benign hematology adjacencies, and that's primarily for the treatment for anemias and bone marrow disorders, where we're also seeking opportunities to partner with either academic or small biotech companies. Turning to our cardiovascular and metabolic TA, our primary area of focus there for our partnerships is atherosclerotic plaque stabilization, particularly in high-risk groups where there's a risk of atherosclerotic plaque rupture, where we're looking for prevention and treatment, and also looking at the prevention of major adverse cardiovascular events, or MACE. When it comes to applying genetic medicine, as we mentioned earlier in the presentation, we are particularly looking at homozygous familial hypercholesterolemia, where we will talk about our gene therapy approach shortly of how that will be applied, but that's another area which we would focus on. Myocarditis is another area where we're seeking partnerships for either checkpoint inhibitors for the prevention of myocarditis, and also when we look at inflammatory cardiomyopathies, we're looking for novel targets or biologics for the treatment, or biomarkers to actually stratify the population for effective treatments. Nephrology and transplant TA, the partnerships that we are looking for there will focus on solid and organ transplant rejection prevention and chronic graft versus host disease prevention. The other area of interest that we are active in is tolerance for organ transplant rejection, i.e. for induction of intolerance or its prevention. So any assets that are within your pipelines, please do come and speak to us. We would be interested in initiating some conversations. Within the vaccines area, our primary area of focus is in respiratory vaccines, new vaccine targets, and also RNA delivery and therapeutics. So vaccines is a very hot field recently, post-COVID, and when we look at what technologies we're seeking to partner on, it's really looking at new antigenic targets, epitopes of or combinations thereof, specifically where there's conserved regions for universal vaccination. We are also interested in partnering with companies that have artificial intelligence for predictive modeling of respiratory diseases, evolution, and also the immunological response. New vaccine targets that will enable us to diversify and niche away from mainstream commercial vaccines. And then for RNA delivery, we have used our vaccines portfolio specifically as a foundational building block to justify and deliver RNA therapeutics across all of our TAs. So, for example, we do have proof of concept with a self-amplifying mRNA. We're commercial with COVID, with Costavi. The thinking process is that we can also apply the same technology but across all other therapeutic areas. Particularly looking at the mRNA technology, we are keen to have conversations with institutions and companies that have the ability to stabilize mRNA such that it will be refrigerator stable and capable of being delivered via a pre-filled syringe. Looking at cell and gene therapy, so we are advancing our genetic medicine platform, specifically in the fields of gene editing and genomics. We're looking at technologies for improving insertional editing efficiencies in vivo. We're also looking at how we can actually enhance our ability to regulate immune cells through gene editing, and this could be through, for example, in vivo CARs for B-cell depletion, and looking at delivery technologies for delivering large cargo-based gene editors. For example, CRISPR-Cas9 and other insertional gene editing machinery. So if you have those technologies within your portfolio, we are extremely interested in speaking with you. Additionally, safety is key, and so any safety on-off switches that you may have in development, we would like to speak with you in regards to how you prevent off-target activity and also be able to modulate the gene expression once inserted. Outer scope here is on oncology. Looking at our plasma business, this is obviously our foundational business where we first began way back. We're looking at further leveraging that by looking at the development of novel plasma therapeutic candidates. Also, we're looking at other plasma candidates that can be sourced for potential treatments, and also for methods of how we can improve plasma purification post-donor collection to ensure sufficient yield and increase our current plasma production for our existing portfolio, such as Hizentra, Privigen. One of the key aspects that I would like to bring to your attention today, so we've just spoken through what are areas of interest that are where we would like to partner with institutions and companies, is actually our capabilities. Our business partnering model is extremely unique. We have early stage R&D capabilities which we would integrate with your institution, where there's a two-way knowledge sharing, I would say access to our facilities to nurture and develop and de-risk your R&D program to bring that to a phase 1 proof of concept. We have significant clinical capability to take over the clinical development program, which is the most resource intensive, provide the right regulatory pathway and manufacturing capability to bring the asset to market. We do this in close partnership with all of the companies that we are working with today and in the future. And so far, it has proved to be extremely successful. So what are the benefits working for CSL? There are many. We have an agile business model. An agile business model meaning that when we partner with companies, we sit down with you, we discuss what is the most appropriate business model that will actually fit your organization. This could be anything from just an early stage technical evaluation, from material transfer agreements, dip your toe in the water to see how the technology works, combine it with some of our technology and capabilities, all the way through to research collaboration, option agreement, license, merger and acquisition. Our business development department is structured in such a way that we allow project managers to be assigned with you. We have an alliance manager, which will actually be partnered with you throughout the life cycle of the project to ensure that there is success. We believe that we have one of the best-in-class partnering models within the industry. We have, as you've seen, global capabilities. Large footprint, we leverage our expertise across the globe. Doesn't necessarily have to be within the US. We are one of the world's leading biotech companies. For those projects which are high risk, we do offer financing models through the Research Acceleration Initiative, where we provide a sum of money which we will invest in your company to develop your programs for over a 2-year period with an option to go exclusive for commercialization. We are able to accelerate translational science and research. We have formed 30-plus partnerships established via our early stage research acceleration initiative, which we just spoke about. We have over 200 active research collaborations worldwide, and over 200-plus scientific papers which have been published from those collaborations in 2020. All these metrics speak to the success of how we partner with organizations and companies such as yourselves. Based on that, I would like to say thank you very much for your attention. And if there are any questions, then I'll be more than happy to take them.